Welcome to Cat Unmuted. If you like what I share, feel free to like and subscribe to my channel. Today, I wanted to uh, talk about something I just experienced the other day, and it made me think about some of the things that I like to talk about. Um, like it connects to things that I like to talk about. So. Um, Josh and I, we have a Jeep and it has a winch on it. And taking the Jeep out has been a joy. Not that we did it as much as we wanted to. Something on my lips, excuse me. Um, anyway, with that said, we have pulled a lot of people out of the dirt because we live right by, you know, edge of civilization. And so when we're walking the dog or we're just taking the Jeep out, we occasionally run in across people who need help. And the other day we did run into um, two guys. We didn't see them originally. Like we were walking, and on either side of us, the dirt walls were a tad high, so we're kind of like in a, like there was a road, but there were like small walls, so we couldn't really see up the other side. You can probably hear my dog barking right now. Ignore that. Anyway, the we didn't know they were there until we heard somebody yell help. And mind you, there's a um, even though we're living on the edge of civilization, there was an area that we walked past that's a big construction site right now, and they're building a drainage system in their arroyo. Um, and yeah, so they were like concreting it up, and I think they're making tunnels, stuff like that. And because they got stuck, um, or before I get into that, because of that, we heard a voice, and Josh knew that it sounded like somebody saying help. And I'm like, there's no way. Like I heard a voice, but I wasn't sure what they said. And we decided to peek over that little hill, and we did. And this guy was on in the bed of his truck trying to get the attention of the construction workers who are like like 200, 300 feet away. Like it was maybe a quarter a mile away, um, maybe a little less, something like that. Like there is a distance between where they were at, we were at, and where the construction site's at. And this guy is like waving at them, asking for help. And um, and that was the older dude. There was a younger dude that was um, in the passenger seat of the truck that they were in. Anyway, I yelled at them. I was like, "What's going on? What do you need help with?" And the older guy said that they got stuck and needed help to get out. And we just happened to be in our Jeep with a winch, so we went back to the Jeep, drove around to help them out. So the context of what I got with the situation is that he went out there because his son, which is the other dude, got stuck out there the day before. I don't know what happened the day before, but clearly that truck, his son's truck, had been out there for a day and a half before we were out there walking our dog, um, and before the dad uh, went out there to help him out. So anyway, the dad, who was a veteran, he had two busted knees. He could barely walk. So apparently he gets around in his wheelchair, but we're out in the dunes, so he didn't have his wheelchair with him, and he had to get around his truck, relying on the stability of the truck to get anywhere, and his son did everything else. But I guess his son did everything else. But so the first thing I noticed walking up is that his dad was the one yelling. His dad was the one talking to us. This kid, like, made every, like, uh, uh, he, let's just say he tried hard not to interact with us, right? Even though he was the one that needed help. But like he is the reason why they were in that situation. So anyway, my point is, um, just to like wrap up that part of the story, we pulled them both out and they're okay. But the point here that I'm trying to make is the son who had the ability to walk, instead of asking for help, from what I understand, he probably tried, according to like the context that his dad gave me, um, he was stuck the day before and his dad was there that day, which means he probably asked everybody he knew for help on his contact list in his phone. And at the end of the day, he had to walk somewhere, right? And he came back with his dad the next day because he was the last resort. Um, and on top of that, while his dad because he got stuck with him, trying to get him out, now he's yelling at the construction company for help, or the construction workers for help. Like, his dad is literally yelling. He didn't have the ability to walk. You know what I mean? Why can't you walk over there? Like, we were about to walk that whole, like, we walked 2 miles out there. Like, there's no reason why you can't walk, you know? And so the reason I'm bringing this up is, not trying to like um assume what was going through his head, but I can uh give a really good guess of what was happening there. And the main thing is probably that he was too embarrassed to admit to his fault, right? He couldn't admit to anybody, I fucked up and I need help. Does that make sense? Especially with his dad. Like, he tried to get his, assuming that's what happened, uh, in the first day, tried to get other help that he was comfortable with, but eventually broke down and was like, okay, my dad's the only person that can help me now, and I have to like basically fess up. And I guarantee you, he probably did not fess up. He probably was like, um, um, he may have said, I fucked up and I need help. But the thing is, um, it was kind of like, to me, obvious that he was not fully fessing up to what was going on, because now there are strangers involved. Again, he tried so hard not to interact with us, because if he does, then he'd have to admit it to strangers. And if if he had to walk over to the construction site for help, he would have to fess up to strangers. You know what I mean? So, like, I thought to myself, because there was a time when I was too good to fess up to my mistakes, and that's especially with parents, right? But you get to a certain age where you realize that embarrassment is really such a small, small thing in life. And so, like, why do we let that hinder us? right? Especially when we were younger and it was harder for us to fess up to something that was so embarrassing that we didn't want anybody to know that we were dumb enough to get ourselves stuck in the dirt out there. And according to Dad, that was like not the first time that he had had to dig his son out. And he's like, I wish he would just learn his lesson and stop doing this because his truck clearly cannot handle it. That or he doesn't know how to drive in dirt. I'm pretty sure it's the truck though, for the most part, because Josh has um, uh, if Josh tries to drive it out of the dirt and it doesn't, then most likely nobody can. He's pretty good at that stuff. So anyway, he did try, and that kid's truck was stuck. Like even Josh couldn't drive it out. So we had to get it connected to a winch, our winch. Anyway, um, yeah, so it just got me thinking, like, there were times when I'm 45, so in my younger days where there was, there were lots of things that I just had a hard time confessing to, um, uh, my parents, let alone strangers, people that I don't want to fess up to, or people that I don't want them learning what stupid shit I have done. You know what I mean? I remember those days, but along with all the tragedy, trauma, and bullshit that you have to maneuver yourself through, when you get to that end, you kind of realize things like that, little embarrassments that happen through life, is such a, it's not even a thing. Like, why are you embarrassed about that? You know what I mean? Like, everybody makes mistakes, everybody knows that. And shit happens, and hopefully you learn from it, right? I mean, the fact that the kid didn't tried not to interact with us so that he didn't have to admit to his doing, and admit that, uh, like, not just admitting it, but basically, um, making himself look like a dumbass, which is truly where the embarrassment lies, shows that he hasn't gone through enough shit to realize that's not even a thing. Like, why is that an embarrassment? And the way that he chose to react to the situation is, like, instead of just outright telling us, or outright telling the construction crew and asking for help, instead, he sat in his dad's truck in the passenger seat. Oh no, actually, I think he was in the driver's seat, scrolling through his phone while his dad was yelling for help. And he's the one that's crippled, you know? And also he's the veteran, so a military veteran. So that's kind of proves my point that he's gone through shit enough to know that whether it was his fault being stuck there or not, like it would be easier for him to ask for help without the embarrassment. Like, if there might be a little embarrassment, but it's such a minute thing that it would be easy for him to do. But for his son, it was not. And God, how many things can you think of where you're like that too? But then think about where you are today, where you're like, ah, I can ask for directions. I'm no longer embarrassed that I'm lost, for example, because that's like one of the things that a lot of people have an issue with, is asking for directions, especially guys, because they don't want to be embarrassed about being lost. There's no reason why you can't ask for help. Um, yeah. So that kind of made me reflect a little bit. Um, especially since I've been thinking a lot about um, uh, things that are under our control, right? Like I did a post today on social media about what you can and cannot control, and that's most of what I like to teach is learning what you have control over, and that is your reaction to a situation. And this is such a perfect scenario because this kid decided to do nothing and let his dad literally yell for help. And by the time we got there, like his dad's voice, it sounded hoarse. So obviously he's been yelling for a while. Like if I was the son's brother or sister, if I was the sibling, like and I saw this, I think I would have gotten mad at him. I'm like, Dad can't fucking walk. Go walk over there. He's yelling for them. Like, you know what I mean? Oh my God. So anyway, it's like um uh like in a sense choose your battles, right? And this is the battle you chose to in a sense ignore. It's not even a fucking battle. Again, it's not an embarrassing thing. Like it kind of is, I get it, but everybody gets stuck at some point, and hopefully you learn from that situation. So anyway, circling back to my to what I said last is he chose to do that. But what would have been like the right way to react, like when he gets stuck, like I'm gonna put myself in that situation. If I get stuck and I'm alone, I'll probably call my husband or anybody closest to me, and that might it might be embarrassing because I did get myself stuck out there, but whatever. It happens to everybody, so I'll call them. And if I can't find help there, then I would have definitely walked to one of the construction workers over there and figured it out. You know what I mean? Like, there's no reason for me to get stuck. I might be so pissed at myself with doing such a dumb thing like getting stuck in the dirt. I would like to think that I know better than that just because I have a Jeep, right? Anyway, um, but the point is choosing your reaction. Like the moment it happens, you might have a moment where like, fuck, man. Like, what the fuck did I put myself into? Like, what did I do to myself, right? That would be like the original, like the very first reaction, like, shit, what the fuck? Life's over. But that's just like the first like what would that be called? Like a reflex reaction. Like fuck. But you get out, you look at the situation around the Jeep or the vehicle that you're in. In this case, I'm talking about me if I were in that situation. And I'll come to a uh, basically looking at the reality of it. And I'm like, well, I have to choose, right? Either I'm going to figure out how to dig myself out, which I probably can with the winch. I just need a hard place to like maybe a tree to wrap it around or whatever. But let's say I don't have the winch. I really need to get into contact with somebody, right? And say I'm in a situation like that kid was, where I'm not married, I don't have a girlfriend, boyfriend, whatever, um, and but I need to call somebody. Like I would probably call all my friends first. I would do that, yeah, because I don't want to admit it to my dad because I know what I'm going to hear. But if I had to call my dad, then I would have called him. But at this age, even it doesn't. Let's put age aside because we're talking about reactions here. Um, uh, just putting aside all the emotional, unnecessary emotional feelings that we have towards how stupid we are in doing what we did, and just making the right call and making the fastest recovery you can make, which is calling a family member. or whoever you consider family. It doesn't have to be blood, right? And whatever they have to say, take it, because I probably was dumb enough to do what I did. I mean, because in all reality, like whenever I go through drives like that, I don't go by myself because you just never know. So that would be the correct thing to do. But if I was in that mess and I had to hear it from my dad, I will tell him I fucked up. And if it's like a told you so or whatever it is that he wants to say, I'll take it like a champ because really, I just need to accept the fact that I did do something stupid and dumb and learn from it, right? I'm not going to go there alone again. Or get a fucking wench and make sure you're in a place where you can actually pull yourself out, whatever the case may be. Best case scenario, go with a friend that has a wench or a group. That way you have like all kinds of people with you. Um, but yeah, like choosing to react with how you would want to react the way you know how to react. So, um, if I were not in the position that I'm in now, where I'm more conscious of how I react to things, I probably would have been like, fuck, what did I do? I don't want to call nobody. And I'm going to try to like figure this shit out myself and not embarrass myself in front of people. Um, and then get to a point where I have to call somebody. At that point, I'm probably like beating myself up silly. You know what I mean? Like, how the fuck, why the fuck did I put myself in the situation where I have to embarrass myself in front of my friends or family and have to hear it from them? Like, what the fuck are you doing? You know, are you stupid? Like, blah, 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 blah. I don't want to hear all that shit, and that's why you don't want to, right? Because you don't want to admit to it, you want to hear it, you don't nothing. You don't want to face the fact that it was a dumb thing. Um, so choosing to be more proactive as opposed to reactive would be the key to the solution. So reactivity, you say fuck, 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 and then with that same emotional state, you go through the whole process of getting your shit together. You're getting your shit straight with a friend or with AAA or whatever the case may be, or a tow truck. But uh, that will put you in a stressful state the entire time you're going through it. Or you can choose to be more, I call it proactivity, where you actually put some intention into what's going on, right? Like, so instead of reacting, be like, fuck, the whole time, instead, it's fine to react. It's fine. At the beginning, as soon as you get stuck, it's gonna be a fuck moment. But once you get your frustrations out, take a moment, take your surroundings in, and see the reality of your situation and act accordingly. And when you do it that way, like I guarantee you, it's less stress, because when you're like, fuck my life, this is all happening to me, and now I have to call my friends, and my friend's not available, and now I have to call my dad, and my dad's just gonna give me an earful, and I don't want to fucking hear it. So much stress. But then if you take it step by step and be like, okay, I'll have to do this. I'm gonna have to hear it, and just accept it. And and instead of having an attitude, surprisingly, people actually do act differently around you when you make that decision. Go the moment you're like, okay, I'm not gonna react. My dad's gonna yell at me. I'm gonna take it in, and he will. But when he's done, He's not going to continue like pushing your buttons, so to speak, because your reaction to what he's telling you, now you're like, yes, yes, I know I fucked up. I'm taking full responsibility for what I did. If you know what I mean? If you take that kind of um, like mindset, so to speak, towards what your dad is telling you in that scenario, he's not going to lecture you like he used to, you know? Especially if you do actually proactively make better choices after this, after the first time. You might fuck up a couple more times more, but you can always tell him what you did to make it better, and you're still learning how to do this thing called uh, driving in the dirt. Yeah, New Mexico dirt. The New Mexico sand is a different beast. Um, just figured I'd like throw that out there. Like it's not the same as mud, but it acts like mud because it is so fucking soft. Like once you start digging that hole, just like mud, it's so easy to dig yourself into that. Um, uh, but some areas, the sand gets so packed that it's like a rock. It's an interesting area. I'm sure there are some places like that in Arizona and maybe south of Colorado, but New Mexico is like the dryness is at another level. Anyway, um, that happening, it literally just happened several days ago, and it's been on my mind, and so I figured I would share that experience with you of what I, like as a bystander, so to speak. I never thought about it before because most people that we have helped wasn't necessarily in the state of embarrassment. Like they were embarrassed, but like they were more grateful for the fact that we were there. And uh, like whatever we told them to do, they were like more than happy to do. You know what I mean? I actually had to drive once, be in the wheel of the car being towed by our Jeep, all because the kid didn't know how to drive in it. So anyway, um, my point is this one was a little different from all the rest that we rescued out of the dunes of New Mexico, and it just made got me thinking. So anyway, um, yeah, I'm doing a lot of like I have this workshop on my website, but I'm trying to change it because I'm not sure if I like the way it's set up. So stay tuned for that. And it has a lot to do with just noticing your patterns of thinking, patterns of action, reaction, thoughts, words that you speak, kind of like what this kid went through. Is that's probably his go-to is to like just fucking give up and let somebody else take over because he doesn't want to um, face the fact that he fucked up, you know? Yeah. So anyway, fun little stories. And if you like what I share on my show, feel free to like and subscribe the show as well as the video. All right, I'll see you next week. Bye.